Today I'm going to show you a new addition to the fish room, Wild Discus from Brazil. I'm so excited to share these with you guys, and I'm going to take you through the acclimation process and how I accepted these fish, and then an hour-to-hour breakdown, and then I'm going to show you how I got them to eat within 24 hours. Alright, let's get this video started. So this was the box they sent them in. They did actually an excellent job on packing these. I'm struggling a little bit because of one hand on the knife and one in the camera, but I eventually got it open. The shipper did a job packing. He had the heat packs. It was a freezing here, and they came through Florida, but they traveled about 3,000 miles to get here total. So the heat packs were still really warm. Now the bottom was a little cool, so the fish were a little bit colder on the bottom. But as you'll see, I'll show you the temperatures. But yeah, they are pretty amazing. So these are medium size from the Beruri Region in Brazil. And they, I would imagine they're under a year old. So that's kind of why I went with the medium and not the large, because I had a good idea that the age would be a little bit younger. And my goal is to breed these. Now each one came in really nice and they were all alive. There was one that was struggling a little bit. I think it was this guy here, and he had a little bit of a, I don't know, like a fungal issue on the back end, but we'll show you how we took care of that. So all three packed. I love these bags, double bagged, and they were all looking really good. So I wanted to check the pH. Now he told me that the pH for his place was soft but a little bit harder, and you can see the difference. And my buffer is not showing, but I do have enough buffer in there. So I put them in this bucket because I wanted to adjust the pH slowly. So I put in one of these cups probably every 20 minutes or so. And then you'll see the temperature here. So the temperature was 77 degrees out of the bag. That's pretty good, actually. You would hope for a little bit warmer, but that's pretty good, especially since it was freezing outside and I probably sat on cold surfaces. So the heat packs were nice and toasty. Now you see, as soon as I opened up and put the air stone in, they started to lift up, but you can see the darker one. He's been laying down for a while, and that's pretty normal for discus when they arrive. So this is about 15 minutes later, and you can see they're all swimming around now with the water. The aeration really helps. And then I'm slowly acclimating them to the pH and the temperature. My room temperature is about 83, 84 degrees. So it'll slowly warm up in this bucket. That bucket took about an hour to acclimate. And then I got the pH close, almost neutral. So I really prefer picking up my discus by hand. If you've ever tried to pick up a discus with a net, sometimes their spikes, the front spines get broken. So that's why it's always recommended to get your hands wet and lift them out of the bucket into the tank. So all three of them kind of sat, and the theory is they kind of sit in your warm hand. So they kind of just lay there. All right, so this is the first hour, and they're already starting to swim around. So the acclimation to the my water parameters was crucial, and that bucket just seems to work. Now with domestics, I tend to just do the plop and drop, and into tap water to tap water. But these were pretty special with the soft water. But his higher pH, that's the reason why I acclimated like I did. Now you can see in the second hour they started to open their fins up a little bit and move around the tank. Now they're pulling each other around the tank, and that they feel safe doing that. That's something they do in the wild to protect themselves. Within the third hour, they were kind of moving and just checking the tank out. Now these tanks are a little lighter because I do breed discus in these tanks, so I pay for the breeding. Within the fourth hour, you can see their fins look really good. Now, I did put a little bit of food in there, and they are checking the food, but they are not eating yet, and that's to be expected. They've traveled a long way, so they're still getting acclimated and just getting used to their surroundings. So basically that's what they're doing right now is just kind of checking out the tank, figuring out how long the tank is and where they can go. Now you'll see on one side I did put a towel. It's not on there right now because I wanted to film them and I just wanted to get a good visual of them and make sure they visually look good as far as scrapes or fungal. One of them did have a little issue on the back, but it wasn't severe. So I figured that by the time, I got clean water, because they're in crystal clean water, soft water here. So I know that there's not going to be any bacteria issues in the tank, and it's all cycled sponges. So here you see they're kind of relaxing in the middle of the tank. And that's a good sign. But they still are pulling each other around. Okay. This 24 hours later, and I purposely kept the food. I siphoned out the old food, but you can see they're eating. So all three of them started eating. Now the one that had a little bit of issue, he took a little longer to eat than the rest. But they are eating, and they're really staying together as far as, feeling that way. Now you'll see that the other one is going to come around and he's going to eat some food. Okay, so it is important to understand discus communications. If you are interested in learning more about the communication of a discus, please watch this video next. It will take you step by step on the communication of the discus and give you breakdowns on their behaviors.